Hey y'all, it's X, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a 3-round mock draft with trades, and this is basically our post-Super Bowl / Senior Bowl edition, because I don't think I've uploaded one since the Senior Bowl. I don't know, long story short, what basically happened is I had recorded a couple of mock drafts, and each time I recorded one, I didn't edit it immediately, so I waited 2 or 3 days, and then realized this one's kind of outdated, gotta restart it. I did that once with a round 1 mock draft, a 2-round back to a round 1. It was so much, but here we are. I'm gonna record this. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna edit this, and then it will be released on Sunday. I'm recording this on Saturday, but we're locking back in. It's okay, chat. But remember, leave a like and sub if you don't mess with the content. Let's jump right in. So, pick number 1 here. Tennessee Titans. We've heard reports of Cam Ward being the number 1 guy. We've heard reports of Abdul Carter being the number 1 guy. Some slight hype around Travis Hunter, I think, after he won the Heisman, but I highly doubt he's the number 1 pick to this team specifically. I do think that they're either in the market for quarterback or edge rusher. I think those are the 2 positions that they're going to prioritize the most. So I'd be more inclined to go in that direction. So I honestly think that Abdul Carter most likely goes number 1. I think that Brian Callahan isn't on a super short leash, is what most people are saying, and he has a little bit of time to kind of get his team together before he's forced to make a quarterback pick, and I just don't think that anybody really wants to go quarterback this year. It's not like you're in the worst quarterback spot. You still have Will Levis, who is young and still has potential, so you can afford to just do one more year of the Will Levis experiments and see how it goes. I mean, I think we know what he is by now, but there's nothing that's really forcing them to go with another quarterback here, especially in a class where it feels like every single one of these quarterbacks is developmental in some way. Now, moving on to Cleveland here at number 2, I initially was very, very against this Travis Hunter pick. However, ever since the Myles Garrett trade, we have learned that if Myles Garrett is traded, Denzel Ward will most likely request a trade as well, whether that's at the deadline, whether that is this offseason. And it's almost a guarantee at this point that Myles Garrett is not a Cleveland Brown next year. I think if somehow he magically stays, you are 100% going Cam Ward. I think unless there's a better veteran quarterback available, which it doesn't seem like there is, Kirk Cousins was not great last year. Aaron Rodgers was okay at times, very bad at others. And also, you probably just don't. The Cleveland Browns, of all teams, would want the Aaron Rodgers drama in their locker room, but most competent teams would not want the Aaron Rodgers drama in their locker room. So, I don't know. It makes that a little bit more difficult, but either way, I'm saying all this to say that Travis Hunter is going to go number 2 if this Myles Garrett trade happens, because you are essentially saying, hey, Denzel Ward, we know you want out as well, and we are prepared to let you go. That's a lot of yapping for a very straightforward pick at this point. New York at number 3, I'm not even going to say too much. You're going Cam Ward. Very much the best fit in this class for Brian Daboll outside of Jalen Milroe, but I'm kind of done with him at this point. He was my dream pick going into the year. He didn't improve much in the actual college football season. He did at times look like a better passer. Was the best rushing quarterback in the league. But he just hasn't had a good offseason process. Did not have a good Senior Bowl whatsoever. Had a terrible Senior Bowl game. It was just a mess for him. He does not look like he's improved his passing whatsoever. But this is not a Jalen Milroe video. I'll say that much. This is not a Jalen Milroe video. New England here at 4, though. That's what we really want to talk about. I think this is a trade down spot. And I do kind of have this trade already lined up. We're going to be trading pick 4 to the New Orleans Saints, because I think Mason Graham is a beautiful fit. We're going to be trading 2/3, a third this year and next year, and we're going to be taking Mason Graham. I really want to see the Saints get him. I know it might be a hefty trade-up cost, but Mason Graham is going to be worth it. To pair next to Brian Brzee, who is not a good run stopper, getting possibly the best run defender in this class outside of Talik Williams maybe. You might even take Mason Graham over Talik Williams in that regard, but Mason Graham's the better D-tackle overall. I mean, that just seems like a fearsome defensive line room. You can get an edge rusher in the second round. I really am confident that is a great way to move, and it helps the Patriots trade down and feel more comfortable taking a tackle at 9, which I think is their biggest priority. Jacksonville here at pick 5. I'm going to experiment with something new. We're going to go Tetairoa McMillan here. I do think that this team desperately needs a wide receiver 1. I think with Liam Cohen coming in, getting that big receiver like a Mike Evans would be really, really, really good for Trevor Lawrence's development. I think Liam Cohen would know just what to do with that. And hopefully this can be the savior that Trevor Lawrence needs, because it's not even like he's on his last chance. They paid him already. So actually he has as many chances as he wants, because they're not getting off of that contract anytime soon. So I don't think Trevor Lawrence is bad. I think he's just been put in the worst situation out of any quarterback in the last, I don't know. What quarterbacks have been put in a worse position who are actually talented, and we know that they're talented? I really am not sure. So, yeah. Either way, Las Vegas here at pick 6. Chip Kelly was recently hired as their offensive coordinator. This is one of the reasons I wanted to redo this mock draft, is because I want to experiment with the possibility of them skipping out at quarterback here at 6, because I do think that Will Howard is very much a candidate to go in this 3rd round here. And I think with Chip Kelly, some familiarity there already. Will Howard was already a quarterback that I did like going to the Raiders. I think I like that pick even more now. So we're going to skip out on that, and we are going to go with Will Johnson. Will Johnson is probably corner 1 in this class if the injury stuff comes back well. Some people were scared with effort concerns. If that was the reason he sat out, was he kind of just gave up on that Michigan team and was preparing for the draft, which I wouldn't disagree with him doing that at all. Last year's Michigan team was horrible. But yeah, I do think that Will Johnson is the best cornerback in this class when healthy. Even when he was playing this year, he still looked like the best cornerback in this class. I think you probably have some questions about his recovery speed, but that's probably it. So, yeah, that's really it with him. New York at pick 7. Aaron Rodgers is now not a New York Jet. I don't think they've made it official yet, but they did inform him that they will be moving on. And that means Shedeur Sanders time. That almost guarantees that they're taking a quarterback in this class. They could go after another veteran. I don't know who it would be. Is Kirk Cousins about to be a New York Jet for a super low contract? I don't know. But this just sounds like you are probably looking to draft a quarterback here in this class. Pick number 8 for Carolina here. There's a couple of different ways you could go with them. I think edge is probably the best option for them. I'm thinking James Pierce. I'm thinking Jalen Walker or Mikael Williams. Probably in that order would be the order of the players that I want. And we're going to go James Pierce. He is probably going to be a top 5 player for me in this class when I do a big board eventually. James Pierce is just so talented, man. I feel like he's underrated because people don't realize he's a lot more well-rounded than they think. I think people get scared because he is 240 or something. I think he's listed at 243, but he plays like he's 250, 260, and he really holds his own well against bigger offensive linemen. He's a solid run defender, and I don't think people recognize that. They kind of see him more as a DPR guy, but that's just not what he is at all. He could definitely be a 3-down edge rusher at the next level, and I think when you realize that, you realize he is a top 5 player in this class, and the Panthers getting that at 8, honestly, is a steal. New England here at pick 9. I'm going to go with a wild pick here, kind of out of left field. I guess it's not really out of left field, but Josh Conerly is going to be the pick here at pick 9. I think that he is... I feel like just realizing that by the end of the season, he was probably the best tackle in college football last year. And then when you go through this offseason process, go to the Senior Bowl and realize that outside of one viral clip of Mike Green running straight through him, he was the best tackle at the Senior Bowl. That's tackle 1 in this class. I think if Josh Simmons wasn't hurt, this would be Josh Simmons 100%. I am honestly kind of out on Kelvin Banks being a top 10 pick, or really anywhere close to it. I honestly like him more towards the back half of the first round now. Probably anywhere after 18, I think I'm comfortable taking him. His footwork is just really, really bad. He doesn't have a good anchor at all. And I think somebody who's looked at as a top 10 tackle needs to have a good anchor. And I think that's stuff that you can develop, but I just wouldn't take him that high for that reason. I think Will Campbell is the same issue, where he has not the greatest anchor at times and can kind of just get destroyed by guys who do really well putting speed to power, people like a Mike Green in this class. So for that reason, like, Conerly was solid all year, and again, outside of one rep in the Senior Bowl in one-on-ones where Mike Green just absolutely ran straight through him, Josh Conerly had an amazing Senior Bowl. Chicago here at pick 10. I know that Bears fans are probably sick of seeing this, but I think Ashton Jeanty is just the best pick for them. When you have Ben Johnson, you are looking to get a very, very elite running back. I just think that's just what you are going to do. This is a great running back class. You don't have to take one this high. But I do think that it would really, really help them out. San Francisco at 11 here. I think I'm going to go with edge now. I just don't like going any of these other tackles this high. Like I said, I'm kind of out on Will Campbell as a top tier player. I feel like I would like him more probably as a guard. Like, Miami might be a place where he ends up going. Seattle's a thought. I just don't love Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks that much anymore. So I think for that reason, going edge here or interior would be really, really nice. I do think there are some good edge rushers here for San Francisco. I'm going to go with something kind of unique that I haven't done before, but I do think that San Francisco would probably like it. I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart. I don't know if he goes this high in the draft, but again, he is a very, very toolsy edge rusher, very flexible when it comes to flexing inside and outside because he is 290 pounds. So he really is the size of an interior, but has some of like the best pass. Like, he was a very, very good pass rusher for an A&M. And I know the production wasn't there, and you guys get on me for, or you guys don't really get on me, but I kind of down Mikael Williams for the fact that he didn't have a lot of production, but he was also injured, and I just didn't like his tape as much as I did Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart wasn't as productive, but Shamar Stewart also shared a defensive line with Walter Nolan, not Walter Nolan, Nick Scorton this year, would have been Walter Nolan last year, and Shamar Turner as well. So, just a very talented edge room, and I don't think that him being unproductive really matches the tape. Dallas here at pick 12, I 100% want to trade out of here. Like, with Ashton Jeanty off the board, this is such a hard pick, but I'm telling you guys right now, I want Matthew Golden. I think he's probably just the dream fit for the Cowboys. But who's trading up here and for what? Jalen Walker would be interesting because I do think Miami taking him is a possibility. I do think a team trying to trade up for Tyler Warren is 100% a possibility because if Indy's there, like, I don't know. I think somebody needs to trade up for Tyler Warren. I think that's probably the play. So I'm gonna map this out and I'll let you guys know what I do. All right, so this is kind of a hefty trade here. We're going to be sending a 1 and 2 5s to the Denver Broncos for a 1, a 3, and then a 3 next year. I just wish Denver had a little bit more draft capital, and so does that. Like, I wish Dallas did as well, but that's the reason we're making a trade down like this, is they have 4 fifth-round picks. So getting a little bit more value in this third-round pick, we honestly don't even have to trade 2 5s. We can honestly do probably 12 and 150. And then we're getting them back 120, or not 120, but 20, 85 in the third next year. So Denver is going to trade up here and get, again, this I've kind of gone away from it recently, but this is my dream fit, is getting them Tyler Warren, but it seems like he's going to go a lot higher than they're going to be able to reach for him. So I think them getting Tyler Warren here at pick 12 is really, really valuable. Miami here at pick 13. I don't know. I'm intrigued with offensive line, but I don't really want to go with any of these guys. I think Malachi Starks is probably what I do here. There's the possibility of a Jalen Walker. I've thought about that a couple of times. Is he not listed at linebacker? Oh, they finally put him as an edge. That's actually pretty sick. Yeah, I do think that there's a possibility this could be Jalen Walker. He does he's interesting for this team. Like, a blitzing linebacker off the bat could end up transitioning to edge if you can't really get Jalen Phillips to stay healthy. It's interesting for sure. D-line's definitely a thought. Like, Walter Nolan's another one that I'm like, they do like very athletic, very toolsy interior defensive linemen. And you know what? let's do it. Let's do that today. We're going to go with Walter Nolan here at 13. I think he's such a good player. And I think he probably has the highest potential out of any of these interiors. Like, I think Mason Graham's going to be very solid, but I think Walter Nolan could end up being a dominant interior pass rusher. Indianapolis here at 14. You're going Ben Morrison. I don't know why people think that he's going to slip into the second round, maybe even the third round. I think he's a lock for round 1. Unless the injuries come back as an absolute no, which I don't think they would, because he wouldn't have come out in that case. I think if he was confident that he's going to come back and be good again and his medicals are going to look pretty solid, I don't think that his team or anybody around him would have been dumb enough to tell him to come out this year if they didn't believe that he was ready to play. Atlanta here at 15. I thought about Mike Green here, and I do kind of want to quickly touch on this because it's kind of circling around like low-key, but there's not a lot of information out. There is some off-the-field concerns with Mike Green, allegedly. Again, heavily allegedly. Like, I can't even find anything out online about this, but supposedly he had to transfer high schools for some reason. I don't even know the reason. However, people who know what is being talked about have said, like, no, it's pretty bad stuff. But essentially, whatever it was made him have to transfer high schools, as well as this is also the reason he was dismissed from Virginia and ended up at Marshall in the first place. I think given that there is so little information out on this subject, I don't think it's going to affect him as much. On top of that, he also did get an invite to the Combine, and I think that if the NFL has done their due diligence already and kind of looked into whatever secret situation there is that people are saying, in the reason that he ended up being at Marshall in the first place, getting dismissed from Virginia, and also whatever happened in high school, I think if they knew about all of this stuff already and still offered him an invite, that means it's probably nothing. I don't know. I did want to touch on that though, because people have been kind of talking about it underground a little bit, and it hasn't really come to light because nobody really knows anything, but there are some people who have got inside sources who have said things. I don't really know. I can't say too much about it because I don't know. But I did just want to bring that to light. It's not going to really affect where I put him because, honestly, I think given how secretive it is, like when big things usually happen that get a player dismissed or things like that, or huge character concerns, you usually hear about it a little bit more, especially when people kind of know about it. Like, it's different if like a player falls in the draft and you find out after, but we're finding out before. And again, it hasn't really seemed to offset his draft process either. And he's had a really, really good offseason. Senior Bowl, he looked amazing. Obviously went viral, destroying Josh Conerly. But yeah, that's something I did want to touch on because I did think that people are probably going to want to listen to that. But I think I'm going to trade down here with Atlanta. It's just a matter of for who. Who wants to trade up? I feel like somebody might want to grab Mikael Williams. I do think that Jalen Walker is somebody that people might want to trade up for, stop him from going to Arizona. But who would really want Jalen Walker? I feel like Tampa Bay might want him. But would Tampa Bay really want to trade up? That's interesting. I don't think Tampa Bay wants to trade up. I feel like Malachi Starks is honestly the one that people should probably trade up for. But who's going to go get him? Like Seattle, maybe? Who would want Malachi Starks here? It would have to be like one of these close teams. I don't think it's going to be a long trade. Like Cincinnati jumping up one spot, but I don't think anybody's going to take him. You know, I do like the idea of Cincinnati just securing Malachi Starks to help their defense. It's not going to take anything like at all. I do think it's going to probably take a 4th round pick, maybe. Yeah. It's really not that much value, and they're going to trade up here and grab Malachi Starks to secure the back end of their defense. Again, they were horrible last year. Geno Stone did not seem like a good signing because he was very much just a Ravens scheme player, it seemed like. But Malachi Starks can definitely help out on the back end. Arizona here at 16. I'm going to go with something that I've liked for a little bit of time. I've thought about offensive line here and going with like a Membu, a Josh Simmons. Again, like I said, I'm having these two fall because I am just not the biggest fans of them. I've done Kelvin Banks here before because I do think this is like the ceiling for where he could go. I think once NFL teams kind of realize what he is. But I do think that edge is interesting here. Like, Mikael Williams needs to probably go higher. Because even though I don't love him, the NFL is probably going to love him. It's just a matter of, do I think he's a good fit for Arizona? Because I would honestly go Jalen Walker here. I think Jalen Walker's probably a better fit, to be honest. Yeah, we're going to go Jalen Walker. I'm going to go Mikael Williams at this next pick, though. But Jalen Walker, I feel like with just the edge rushers that they've brought in, and Baron Browning, drafting B.J. Ojolari, I feel like you kind of like these more athletic, lighter edge rushers, and I think Jalen Walker is kind of a hybrid linebacker, kind of like a Zaven Collins, but better. I feel like this is just kind of the profile that they like to go after. And Atlanta here at 17, we talked about this already. We're going to go Mikael Williams. Keeping him in Georgia, going to pair him up with Arnold Ebiketie on that other side. I think the NFL is going to like him more than I do, and I feel like this is just kind of a middle ground of, like, he could go, like, pick 11, but he could also go in the 20s like I think he could. I don't know. So we'll see with that. Seattle here at 18. I am to take Will Campbell here. Could have had a team trade up for him, but I just think that as a guard, they're probably going to like him. In worst case, he ends up kicking out to tackle. He could go. I don't think he's going to be a right tackle. I don't know if that transition is going to go well for him at all. Could be another Evan Neal situation if they try and do that. But I think as a guard, Will Campbell would be elite for them. Tampa Bay here at 19. Could go edge for them. I am thinking Mike Green is probably the play here. I think that's what we're going to do. I've done Jahad Campbell here a couple of times. I do really, really like him. I just don't know if the NFL is going to value him as much as I do, but it is what it is. Mike Green, we kind of talked about this. I'm not going to say too much more about this in any other videos until more info comes out, if it ever does, but we'll just keep watch with that. But he is a very talented player. Like I said, he's had a great season with like 17 sacks, and then also had a great offseason process, dominating at the Senior Bowl. So he's pretty much a lock first rounder for me. So good for him. Dallas here at pick 20, we already talked about this. My dream fit here is Matthew Golden to replace Brandon Cooks on the outside. I just think Emeka Egbuka and Luther Burden are just too much of like slot options for me to be confident with them not taking CeeDee Lamb's snap share at that spot. So I do think getting a bona fide outside receiver in Matt Golden could really, really help Dallas. Pittsburgh here at 21. You could go Emeka Egbuka. Sadly, no Ben Morrison's on the board, so I don't really like going corner here. D-line's interesting if you want to try and replace Cam Hayward, thinking he might retire. But I do think wide receiver is probably the play. I think I am going to go with Emeka Egbuka here. I think he can play on the outside. In worst case, I just don't really care about like Roman Wilson that much. Like, he was a third-round pick. I'm going to go with the upgrade at talent there with Emeka Egbuka if he can't play on the outside and just have him as a slot receiver. We know he's going to be really good. And he's going to make plays. So, either way, I'm pretty happy with that. Chargers here at 22. You could go Colston Loveland here. I do kind of want to experiment with something else, though. I've done a lot of going D-line for this team because I do think that they need it. I think the other option is going with a guard. And I think Tyler Booker is so good. I think Tyler Booker is worth a first-round pick. They've solidified their tackle spots now, getting Rashawn Slater and, what is his name? Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. There you go. I think they just need to solidify that interior of their offensive line and replace that, like, Jamari Sawyer spot. Tyler Booker has played like a first-round level guard, so really, really like him a lot. Green Bay here at 23. I think Nick Scorton's probably the best fit for this team. Kind of fitting that Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness build. Really high floor player as well. Don't know if he's going to go this high. Could have a team trade up and Green Bay gets more capital. You could go tackle for this team as well. Some people have thought about that before. I'm not really that intrigued with that idea. I do like D-line for this team a little bit. And obviously corner is a really, really big need for them as well. I think we're going to trade down here with the Packers. And I think I kind of want to have somebody trade up for Kelvin Banks. Just, he's falling, obviously, for good reason. But who's going to come up and get him is the question. I feel like Washington might want to come up and get him. I feel like Washington probably wants to come up and get him. It would be them or it would be the Rams, but I feel like the Rams are like good sitting where they're at. Or it's the Ravens trading up for Josh Simmons specifically. I don't hate that idea. Because the Ravens don't really need... They don't run the risk of Josh Simmons not working out. So you know what? I think we're going to have the Ravens trade up. Let's see how much it would take. It would most likely take a third round pick. They have 2 fourths. Let's give them a 4 and a 5. Let's do that. So Ravens are going to trade up here and grab Josh Simmons. He can play either tackle spot. They're probably going to bring back Ronnie Stanley for another year at least. But, I mean, with his injury concerns, like, I know getting Josh Simmons doesn't really solve that. But at least you're giving him more time to get healthy and he doesn't have to start right away. So I actually do like that pick for the Ravens a lot. Minnesota here at 24, I also think I want to trade down here because I have a plan for them as well. And only having 1 pick in this could be pretty bad. I kind of want to have Buffalo trading up for somebody because I do think that them getting, like, they have 2 second-round picks for a reason. But who would that be for is more the question. Are there any edge, like Nick Scourton they might like. Defensive line, like, interiors haven't really gone a lot. I do like Jahdae Barron for them. It's just a matter of will they be able to get him if they trade up, if they just wait for the second round. I feel like they could probably get both. I feel like if they want Jahdae Barron, they could trade up and grab Nick Scourton, and then also do that later. Like, because other than that, I don't really have any other spots for them besides, like, maybe Kelvin Banks. But I think he's probably just a lock to go here at 25 or 26. He's just a lock to go there. Yeah, I think I have Minnesota trade back with the Bills. I think the Bills are going to come grab Scourton. The Eagles, that's the one. Colson Loveland's still on the board. The Eagles 100% want to trade up here and stop any other team from doing so. That's the play. The Eagles definitely want to come up here and grab Colson Loveland. Where's Philly? Right here. Probably going to trade third. Perfect. Nice. So they're going to trade up here, grab Colson Loveland, and move on with their lives because they somehow got their tight end. Wow. Houston here, 25. We're going to do something that I don't know if I've done before. We're going to go Donovan Jackson. I think he's a first-round worthy guard. I honestly think I like him more as my guard 1 than I do Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker's been consistent, but so is Donovan Jackson, and Donovan Jackson has tackle flexibility as well. And I think long-term, Donovan Jackson could be developed into your Laramie Tunsil replacement. That's that. I'm just going to throw that out there. LA Rams here at 26. We kind of talked about this already. It's Kelvin Banks. I just really, really am starting to lose faith in him as a starting tackle. Like, I think he needs a lot more work than we thought he did. I think the Texas tackles in general have that kind of stigma. I think they both just need a lot more work. Green Bay here at 27. We talked about this already. They traded down, and they're still going to get their guy here, Nick Scourton. I know you could wait and grab Donovan Zirawaku, but I think Scourton probably fits the build that they like a little bit more. Detroit here at pick 28. We're going to go with a Senior Bowl standout, and that's probably the best offensive lineman there in Gray Zabel. Could stay at tackle, but I don't think they're going to need him to because they have Sewell and Decker. He would just come in and play guard right away, and you're really, really happy with that. Washington at pick 29. I think I'm going to go with Luther Burden. I think having him fall out of the first round would be criminal, and honestly, Jaden Daniels needs more weapons than Terry McLaurin and Olamide Zaccheaus. It's not a great core over there, that team. But yeah. Buffalo here at 30. I don't really love the board here for them. Like, I could go Jahdae Barron, but I feel like his value, you could trade down and get him later. So I feel like trading down to make a trade up later would really, really help the Buffalo, like the Bills. Like, who's going to take Jahad? Because Jahad Campbell's probably the player I would take the soonest here. Like, it would be Jahad Campbell and Jahdae Barron and maybe an edge rusher if I could get all three. Because Jahad Campbell could eventually replace Matt Milano for this team. I feel like I would probably just need to make sure I stay in front of the Raiders. So which one of these teams wants to trade up here? Does somebody want to jump the Chiefs for a D lineman? Probably not. Does somebody want to trade up for Membu? That's a possibility. Cleveland, maybe? I think Cleveland here, maybe wanting to get trade up for Membu could be helpful. I know Ursary going to be there, but Membu's probably a lot higher for them. I actually like that. It's not a huge trade down. And I think Buffalo, I don't need them to make a pick here. Let's see. So it would be 33 for 30. They have 2 third-round picks, but I don't want to move off of that. Honestly, Buffalo has so many picks. I could probably send back a 5 as well. Yeah. And then be trading up here for Armand Membu. Kansas City here at 31. I think you're definitely going interior here. It's just a matter of who. Is it Talik Williams? Is it Kenneth Grant? Is it Derek Harmon? I feel like they're losing their nose tackle this offseason. I think Tershawn Wharton's their nose tackle, if I'm not wrong. So I think Kenneth Grant's probably the best fit to replace him. And then Minnesota here at 32 to end off this part of the video. And we're going to go Omarion Hampton because I really, really like his fit to this team. Omarion Hampton would be sick watching him on Minnesota. They're going to lose Aaron Jones this offseason because it was more of a rental. And they're going to get younger there. So, pretty happy with that. That's going to be the end of round 1 here. Let me know how I did for your favorite team. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, do you like the fact that I traded down? Do you not really care? Either one works. But remember to leave a like and sub if you don't mess with the content. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.